Hello, welcome back. Say, you know what? I need a coffee break, man. I've been just making record video after video. You're a hard-on old guy like me. And okay, I'm off break. Here we go. Yes, yes, indeed. Look at this down here. Acoustic mastering. Mastered by Acoustic by Kevin Gray and Steve Hoffman. And they even got their signatures down here. With this Acoustic, that used to be the mastering lab that was over at RTI back in the day. Anyway, at least in 2006, when this record was redone. And for many years, I had a Japanese pressing of this. It was supposed to be the first edition, and it was one of those records that I didn't really like it. The highs were too high on it. I didn't like the sound of it, but you know, where was I going to get a better copy? And so I really didn't play the record that much because I didn't really like the sound of it. Then this one came out, and finally, oh my goodness, wow, what a complete difference. Oh yeah, that old Japanese, that went on eBay the next day when after I got this thing. This is a great record here. And the packaging, you know, it's the same, must be City of Industry, you know, with MoFi and RTI and Rhino and all that. All these things are going to be coming together here. This is the same type of quality that Rhino was doing. And if you look on the credits down here, produced under license from Atlantic Recording Corporation, manufactured by Rhino Entertainment Company. Well, I don't understand all that, but they must have been helping Chad Kasem out, because we've got Analog Productions in here. And we know who Analog Productions is. That's Chad Kasem. This is 2006. And so he had this record mastered over at RTI, at Acoustic, by Hoffman and Kevin Gray. Well, you know, that mastering studio is no longer there, no longer functioning anyway. Kevin Gray's got his own studio, and I'm not really sure what Steve Hoffman's doing these days, but he must be involved in some things. So there's Analog Productions logo right on the label, and manufactured by Rhino, but we know they were pressed at RTI, and Rhino was doing all this kind of stuff back in the day. And it's the same high quality, but I know, you know, Chad Kasem's involved in this because it's Analog Productions. And you know, this always came with a book. And when you got the original book in that Canadian, and you know, they only came with the first editions, you never got them on subsequent editions. It was just like a comic paper, like a newspaper almost kind of paper book that you got with that. Just the cheapest things that the record companies could put it on. But now, this is on real thick, heavy, glossy paper. This is, before this, the Japanese pressing always had the best book in it. But it's not even as good as this. This now is the ultimate book that I've ever seen in this record of Yes, Fragile. And here's the back cover. Of course, we all like the artwork on the Yes LPs. Let me stick this back in here properly. It's just, you know, like those classic records. When I started getting stuff like that back in the late 90s, it's just such a pleasure to just be able to handle records of this kind of quality. It just makes you feel good. Instead of handling all them old kind of junky records, you get something like this of really high quality, and then you put it on your turntable and you listen to it, and you know, the hair in the back of your neck stands up and all that. That's what it's all about. It's worth a little bit of extra dollar for me for all that stuff. And then close to the edge, this is the Rhino reissue, 180 gram from the original analog master tapes. But now we're getting this Rhino that's pressed in Germany, right? And the covers are getting really thin. Well, this isn't the Rhino that we know. What happened to Rhino? It's still Rhino, Atlantic, Warner Atlantic and all that, but something happened. Why are they going to Germany? Well, I'll tell you what happened. You know, when they started doing this in the early 2000s, they could get records. They didn't have a lineup at RTI. You know, they could go to Acoustic Mastering over there, Steve Hoffman and them, Kevin Gray, get stuff mastered by them. They'd have the original tape. That's why they were so great. Kevin Gray and all them were remastering everything for them over at RTI, and they'd get everything pressed at RTI. And that same, whatever we're getting that same packaging made, it's probably the same place that MoFi gets their stuff done. It was just the greatest packages of all the things together. Phenomenal products. Well, there started getting to be a lineup. After a number of years, we're getting into probably 2011, 2012 here when that came out. Well, you know, there's a lot of other people want to make records now, and they're getting in line. Well, Rhino said, what in the world? We don't like waiting in line. So they got a hold of, and that's when, you know, Palace and those other plants used to be an old Sony CBS plant over there, and they had just bought that and retooled it and got it, and they're looking for customers. And of course Rhino's shopping around, and hey, we can get a little better deal over here. And they make good records, you know, and they actually do, you know, in Palace over, they press a nice record, they use a good vinyl. But I don't like their packaging. Oh, it's horrible. So that's kind of what happened with the records, the later Rhinos. They're not the same. So now we have, this is a new record. This came out in '08. This is Friday Music. And this is the Yes album, Close to the Edge. This has got maybe not the thickest cover, but it's very nice. And the colors are vibrant. Friday Music. And the nice thing about this record is that this was half-speed mastered by Joe Ragoso at Friday Music Studio in California. Capitol Records Mastering. So, you know, I was thinking about that Capitol Records Mastering. Can they actually take a record and make a analog record? And according to what I was reading about it yesterday, someone was asking me about some Black Sabbath reissues or something out of there, and it came out of that Capitol Mastering. So I was reading about it, and there's not a definitive answer, but I'll tell you what about this record now. This one is by Friday Music, that's been half-speed mastered. This is the best ever. You listen to this thing. Now, I had the first edition Japanese press. I had the Rhino. I had another one. And I had like 4, they were all lined up. And this one, this outshined them all. You know, Joe, he knows how to do half-speed mastering. There's not a lot of them that do. And that guy can do it. And he does a fabulous job. Now, if you see this Friday Music issue, half-speed master, you like Yes, you like great sound, it all comes together right here. Fantastic record. Worth every penny of it. And that's a great record, right? Now we have 90125. This is on a Japanese pressing, of course. First edition. Has a nice inner sleeve. Just a paper inner sleeve. This is all they put in there. These later ones. And the record's in there. And it's on Octaco. In Japan they put it on the Octaco label. And then, you know, here's the thing. Yes is another one of those groups. Used to have a stack at the back of the record, you know, goes that this is why. So right by Frank Zappa, there was a stack. I used to had a stack, you know, about that high of Yes records, and most of them were on Japanese. But guess what? They all just did. They all just sat there. I wasn't listening to them. If I'm going to listen to Yes, then first two albums right there. If I listen to those, I've got my Yes fix. And then if I don't have enough, I've got this one. And I've got this one. Big Generator. This is also on a Japanese pressing. Let's look at the label, see what label it's on. It's Octaco, ATCO, but it's on like a picture Octaco label. Let me pull it out for you. Front and back side. You know, this is getting later on when everybody's doing picture labels now. It's just not the record company label. And I haven't re-cleaned these ones, because when I go through and I re-clean them, now I put the nice inner sleeves. So I haven't gotten down to Yes yet. We're still working on doing that. Now I do have this as well, the Yes album. This is the 2 LP 45 RPM of this record. And I used to have the Rhino reissue. And of course I had a bunch of other domestic copies, whatever, through the years. But when I got this one, actually, you know what? When I got that Rhino, it didn't have that really thick of a cover or anything on there. But when I put it on my turntable, I was just so happy. Wow, they're making such great records in the United States. I was so happy about how great it sounded that I didn't even think about the covers and all the other little details. I was just so happy to have a great sounding record. And so now we've got this record, and look what's inside here. It's a 2 LP 45 RPM, and they put it on the Plum, kind of like the old Atlantic label, Friday Music. And these records now, these records are true analog 45 RPM, half-speed master, whatever you want to call all that stuff. There's phenomenal sound on here. This is, once you listen to this kind of music and you go, I don't think I'm ever going to buy anything else but these 45 RPM records, because I'm getting so spoiled by how superior, how great they sound. And then I get folks saying, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Can't say stuff like that. But anyway, if I could just buy 45 RPM records, that's all I'd buy. They're so much better. Then we've got a few records kicking around I wanted to talk about. This is Alison, Krauss and Union Station, So Long, So Wrong, and it's on a MoFi. And this is, let's see what the year is on this. Gain 2 system, 04. Okay, this was made in 04, and this is one of the best records that MoFi had put out for a while. This thing right here, this MoFi, look how nice they got they got that nice inner sleeve in there like that. It's on the Gain 2 system, original master recording. If you want a demonstration record that the sound like they're in your house, and they play a lot of acoustic instruments and stuff on here, yeah, this is the one to get right here. I'm not sure, you know, if they're still making this or what they cost, but it was one of those recordings of the month on Stereophile, and that's why my attention was drawn to it. And around that time in 04, and there was a lot of the, you know, reviewers were using this record because it was awesome, and it is. Someone will come over, and I know they like that kind of music, bluegrass, whatever. I'll put that on, and they can't believe that how the sound is on that thing. Okay, look at this. I had a fellow, he was talking about, Ron, I'm from the 60s. Don't you have any 60s records? Well, here we go. This is from the 60s. This is a Japanese original of Indagata de Vida. And you know, I've had a lot of different copies of this record over the years. I tried to get some off eBay, you know, on that yellow Octaco label. Said that they're the first edition or first wheel. They don't sound good, very good at all. And then I got a Japanese, it must have been a second or third edition. You know, back in the day when I first got it, didn't know all this stuff I know now. And it sounded good. It sounded better, but it didn't. I knew there had to be something better out there. You know, some kind of original pressing. And so, you know, these older records on Atlantic and that, this is the label you need to find. That plum label, that green label like this, if you see those, that's the original press. Just like this Japanese here, this original Japanese pressing. And this thing is phenomenal sounding. This thing is great. I love this record, and I love this. Now I've got my, you know, ultimate sounding copy, so I'm happy. If I can just get it back in here. A lot of trouble with this lately. There you go. And it's on a nice shiny cover. Very shiny. Very thick. And I think that's part of what's helped protect it over all the years. Why it doesn't have ring wear and whatever. But you know, that's a nice black record. Beautiful OB strip. Gorgeous, gorgeous record. I just love it. Okay, we've got a couple more minutes. Here we go again. Cat Stevens, Teaser and the Fire Cat. Now, when Analog Productions, when they first put out that 33 1/3 version of, you know, this is Cat Stevens' second record. When he put the first one out, it had a little piece of paper in it, and it said that they were going to be reissuing this next. So I said, great, you know, because I had A&M. That's what they came out on the A&M label, and I had one of those original brown A&Ms of this record, and it always sounded great. And when I saw, well, their classic or Analog Productions is going to reissue it, I'm going to sell this, and then, you know, because as soon as this one comes out, everybody will be selling them, and I won't be able to get any money. Now it'll be good. So apparently they changed their mind. Now it is on a later A&M label, but what this is, and I can't read Japanese very good. Yeah, I can't read it at all. Never mind, very good. If you can read up here in this, it says half speed master up here. Because that's what this Japanese gentleman who sold this to me, it was advertised. And you won't see that OB on hardly anything. This is a special one. And it says up here, half speed mastered from the original master tape of this record right here. And it's got a nice textured cover, both sides, very beautiful, heavy. It seems like a heavyweight record. It's a very heavyweight cover. And yes, the sound is really, really spectacular on this record. And I love it. So that's going to conclude the video for today. I want to thank all my subscribers for tuning in. And anybody new that's tuned in, make sure to hit that little subscribe deal down there and put that little bell on, because I get so many folks. My cousin called me up yesterday. Ron, you made all these new videos. I didn't even know. I said, yeah, you know what? You got to click that little bell down there, because the last time I was making videos, that wasn't on the app. You couldn't do that. So make sure you click on that, and then if I ever do make another video, which I'm planning on making at least one more, just kidding, you'll get your notification. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.